But yeah.
Do they use this computer for work too?
Not this computer, but the Zoom.
Oh, the same Zoom?
Yeah, same Zoom.
That's what it was. All right, so that's good. That's fine. I just have to go back to the Zoom. All right, it's good. It's live too. Let me just make sure I can make, oh yeah, here, there's more people now. Here we go. It's good. Thank you.
Before we go.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, we will now resume the meeting. Councilman Carney, since you're my go-to tech department unofficial, can you just explain what happened?
So we were recording and live streaming the Zoom webinar and network. So anyone who was trying to join us based off of the agenda posted by the clerk would have been getting a message that there was another meeting in progress. So when we had a moment anyway where we needed to take a recess, I figured the best time to address that would be before there's any kind of a public comment. So anyone could watch the first part of our meeting by going back to YouTube and watching the video. And I've already seen one person join since we.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Councilman Carney. So now it's time for my report. I have a few items. So last night, myself and the council attended the traditional memorial service held by our fire department. Due to the pandemic, they were unable to have this event the past couple of years. And so the last one was held back in 2019. And I continue to be so moved by the tribute that they pay to all of the firefighters and ladies auxiliary who have passed away. And I'm proud that the whole council attended last night. I'm very honored that I was invited to be the keynote speaker last night by our fire chief. And as Chief Scalzadota said, it is not common for them to ask mayors to do so. So, you know, it was very special for me. The theme of my talk last night was that time is our most precious gift. And I expressed how thankful I am for our volunteer men and women, both of our past and of our present and of our future, for our fire department and our ladies auxiliary. I thank them and their families for giving Garwood so much of the most precious gift that they can give. And while I'm speaking tonight about the Garwood Fire Department, I would like to congratulate firefighters Tim Digney and Rob Juchnick for graduating the Fire Academy a couple of weeks ago. Thank you both very much for choosing this form of public service. And we're very proud to have you. I am happy to share tonight that after much anticipated paving, the 600 block of Willow Avenue has been paved curb to curb by the New Jersey American Water Company. The main reason for the delay was to ensure that the two new homes constructed on that block could open up the road for their utility connections before the paving. And I appreciate the water company working with us to hold off on that paving until the work was completed and any settlement that was to take place, you know, would be done. And so this is an example, as a testament to our work with the utility companies to restore roads in a smarter and more efficient manner. And frankly, if it wasn't for planning, the 600 block of Willow would have already been paved and then ripped up again when the two homes were constructed. So glad we avoided that. Unfortunately, we have all witnessed numerous streets worked on here in town by Elizabethtown Gas Company, including on some streets already paved either by us as the municipality or by the water company. And while this is certainly unfortunate because of the condition of the road that it's then left in, I want to say this is necessary work that they are doing. They are providing upgrades to gas lines, which ultimately is a safety issue, and it's to everyone's benefit that they do this updating. So we will be continuing to work with the gas company to get as many streets fully restored as possible. They are obligated to repave any street that they open that has been paved within the last 5 years, but we work with them to get additional blocks fully paved as we did on the north side of town over the past couple of years. Borough Administrator Harris and Engineer Disco will be meeting with their representatives soon. May 26th is the hopeful meeting date, with the hopes of finalizing some plans for restoration work. I have an update tonight from Vermella about their occupancy. This update came at the very beginning of this month, And so I'm going to give some numbers for everyone. So currently, right now, out of the total property, 41.9% of it has been leased. And the occupancy is 26.4%, so a little bit better than a quarter of the way rented. In terms of the types of rentals that are occupied and leased, I will give you a little breakdown on that. The property only has one studio that is not yet rented or leased. The 1-bedrooms, 61 of them have been leased, 36 are currently occupied. Of the 2-bedrooms, 57 are currently leased and 36 are occupied. The property only has only has 6 3-bedroom units, and those are all affordable units per our agreement with them. All 6 of those are occupied at this time. And speaking of affordable apartments over there, there are a total of 30 as per the plan, and they have 15 of them occupied right now with another 12 that have approved applications, and then there are just 3 outstanding. So that is, halfway full in the affordable units, but also almost completely occupied. It's just a matter of probably move-in dates. So that's the latest from Ramella. Lastly, but very importantly, we having a special meeting of the mayor and council on Monday, May 16th, here at Borough Hall at 7 p.m. As always, the public is invited to join in person or via Zoom. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss capital items requested by our various department heads in town. And while we did already start this conversation at the special budget meeting back on March 31st, Mr. Harris and I felt it was imperative that we need to make final decisions as we have already gone out to bid on the South Avenue curb project, and we do need to begin planning bond ordinances in order to fund capital needs that the council so desires to approve this year. And as always, the public will have the opportunity to speak at the public hearings of the bond ordinances before they are voted upon for adoption, as well as, of course, any council meetings before those points in time. So that's it for my report tonight, and I'll move along to comments from the council. Councilman Graham.
Thank you, Mayor. On 4th of May, I attended the Union County Transportation Advisory Board. A couple of presentations were given, brief presentations. Stephen Dunn reported on the 9/11 Memorial Trail, which is part of.
Councilman Graham, I apologize for interrupting you, but we actually do have it on the report section. Ms. Cameron checked in on the date and she knew you had the meeting, so she had put it there. I know in the past, you always had to do it at the beginning of the meeting, but.
All right, well, then I also went to a meeting on the 6th of May regarding the We Value Our Veterans committee that I'm chairing with Councilwoman Salmon and Councilwoman Fredo. I met with Don Fritola, the New Jersey Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, to discuss the governor's We Value Our Veterans program. Don provided me with some background on the program and provided me with a complete application which details all the requirements needed to qualify. The committee will meet shortly in order to study the application and plan our course of action on budget. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Graham. Councilman Carney, you're up next.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a message I've delivered a few times in my comments since last year, but it bears repeating. Just a reminder to everyone here in person with us tonight, joining us by Zoom now, hopefully, or watching the replay of this meeting later on, that contact information for Mayor Tedisco, all members of this council, and all the professional staff are located on the Borough website. Please reach out to any of us with comments or concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Carney. Councilman Lazaro.
Nothing for me, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Lafredo. Nothing for me. Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Salmon.
I just wanted to ask to see if we received from Vermella the agreement regarding the pilot funds.
Mr. Abramson. Turn it to you.
As of this moment, no. It's been advised by Mr. Northgrave to your administrator that the agreement was signed and it's supposed to be coming over. We have not received it as of today.
And I want to add too that I personally spoke with Chris Minks of Russo Development today. just to hopefully get it to us for tonight's meeting. But definitely today, and unfortunately, I don't think it's crossed the email, but we anticipating having it very soon.
Yeah, I asked for it on consent. Kyle, the update, I requested that we also get it again tonight, but I haven't received it.
This last meeting, we were expecting it on Monday, and that was 2 weeks ago, so it just seems really long that we've been waiting. But $300,000 is not worthy of a phone call, or conversation. We need it in writing.
We all agree that it should be in writing, and we all want it here, so we've been reaching out from all ends, and I've had personal conversations with Mr. Minks. I again have no reason to believe anything's an issue. It's just a matter of finally getting this here.
Yeah, personally, Councilwoman, I don't know what's going on. It's really between Mr. Northgrave and Mr. Mays. I only get CC'd every once in a while on Mr. Northgrave, and when I see it, I ask a question.
Thank you, Mr. Abramson. Yes, Councilman Carney?
Counselor, just a follow-up. When this agreement comes over and it's reviewed, this council is going to have to enact a resolution, correct? Correct. Thank you.
First ratification and then for the mayor's signature.
Okay, thank you. Council President Bloomstock, do you have a report for us tonight?
Yes. Actually, I have a number of things that I wanted to bring up for the council to look into. Since we're having a special capital meeting on Monday, I do have an item that the council may want to consider. You may notice as you drive around Garwood that some of the street signs, the actual street names are faded and hard to see. I bring this up not merely for the aesthetic, but because it's actually a safety issue. The signs are just they're not up to code as per the DOT. And the lettering has to be larger and reflective. And I have spoken to the Chief Wright about this. DOT has done North Avenue, the county has done South Avenue. And we have been able in Garwood to replace the street signs on Center and East. But there's 27 more intersections that need to be replaced. And Chief Wright has gotten an estimated cost of about $5,000 to do that, hardware and poles included. So I would like to see the council consider this when making any decisions on Monday. I know we do put sign replacement in the operating budget yearly, but that's usually to replace broken or faded traffic signs that inevitably crop up, not street name signs. So I'd like to see this finally just done all at once rather than piecemeal. So perhaps it's something we could even add to one of the road projects. But Mayor,
Okay.
I think we can use that for Monday maybe.
Certainly, I think it's a worthwhile project, and I know that the police chief put $5,000 into his budget for signs. However, that's for regulatory signs, that comes to my attention. So I do support what you're trying to do here, and I think that we should talk about it maybe a bit further at our special meeting on Monday. Okay. And you said you had something else?
Yes, I have a couple things. Another item that's been brought to me recently by residents, actually, once again, is door-to-door solicitations. So we have spoken about this before at council meetings, and a do not knock list was, I believe, brought up, but it hasn't had any legs. So I'd like to see about adding an ordinance that would prohibit solicitors from visiting households who have registered for this, of course, making exceptions for religious and political groups. Kenilworth has an ordinance, as does Roselle Park and Fanwood. Just about most of our surrounding towns have them, and they were enacted actually years and years ago. So if I could, I'd like to send over some of these sample ordinances to Mr. Harris to distribute to council. And perhaps we can discuss at the next meeting after everyone gets to look at them, whether it's something we'd possibly like to proceed with. Maybe also get some resident feedback on.
Okay. Thank you, Council President. I would say let's have that distributed to the council, but also I'd like the police committee to discuss it so that you can come forward at the next meeting and, share your thoughts as a committee about it.
Okay. And then just one more thing.
Okay.
I would like the council to look into installing an electric vehicle charging station at one of our municipal parking lots. Obviously, as a part of Green Team, we'd like to encourage more electric vehicles, and we're seeing more and more of them as the infrastructure for them improves. So I've done quite a bit of research already. And while there are a few state grants, given the size of our municipality and some of the limitations on these grants, we may be better served doing a public-private partnership, similar to the one Westfield has entered into, where the company covers the cost of equipment and installation through the advertisements on the machine screen. You may have seen them downtown. Since Buildings and Grounds and Streets and Roads have the same committee members, if everyone's in agreement to possibly look into this, I'd like to have Streets and Roads Committee look at some of the research that I found and options, and then perhaps when we get a better feel for it, we can present to the council. And in the meantime, I just would like to encourage council member and all residents to maybe take a look at the ones located in Westfield. And there are also some Tesla charging stations I know on the Cranford Roselle Park border. So maybe we can, those are very specific, those probably wouldn't be what would be necessary here, but we can have a look.
Sure, we can certainly do our homework on that, and I think the Streets and Roads Committee that you chair would be a good place, and like you said, they has the same members as Buildings and Grounds, which I did on purpose, so I think that's sure. Thank you,
That's all for me.
thank you very much. Now it's time for the minutes. Ms. Cameron, could you please read the minutes for us tonight?
Yes, ma'am. Minutes of the regular meeting of the mayor and council held on April 7th, 2022. Minutes of the regular meeting of mayor and council held on April 26th, 2022. Minutes of the executive session held on April 26th, 2022.
Thank you, Ms. Cameron. Could I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Communications, please, Ms. Cameron.
Yes, Mayor. New Jersey State League of Municipalities,
Received and filed.
Darwin Valley Sewage Authority regarding minutes,
Received and filed.
Town of Westfield regarding ordinance,
Received and filed.
Citizen regarding voting.
Received and filed. Thank you, Ms. Cameron. We have one ordinance on tonight's agenda for adoption. Ms. Cameron, could you please read ordinance 22-04 by title only?
Yes, an ordinance to amend section 21-1, parking prohibited in Article 1, traffic and parking, chapter 21, vehicles and traffic of the code of the Borough of Garwood.
Thank you, Ms. Cameron. Have we received any correspondence concerning this ordinance?
We have one here.
Okay. At this time, I will ask, does anyone present wish to be heard concerning ordinance 22-04? Mr. Patterson?
Not open, but is there a copy of the ordinance for public?
Online, just the way it was introduced.
We normally add like copy.
Okay. Paper copies were distributed at introduction? Okay.
In full.
In full. Okay, thank you. And it has, of course, not changed.
Correct.
Right.
And it's posted on the website.
And it's posted on the website.
So, from there.
Yes.
So, this is way of explanation, since you
Sorry,
weren't here.
Mr. Graham. I'm the worst tonight. Yeah, I'm sorry. We do need to close the public hearing if there's no comments on that. Are there anyone online looking to speak on it?
No.
No, okay, thank you. Could I have a motion to close the public hearing on
So
this
moved.
ordinance?
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Councilman Graham, I hope I don't do that to you. I feel bad. Sorry.
3 times you're out.
That's right.
The change to the parking ordinance concerns the intersection of Cedar and Second, where a unfortunate fatality occurred a couple years ago. It was identified as a very hazardous location. Chief Wright and I went out and surveyed the intersection and witnessed firsthand how very difficult it is and how it can absolutely lead to more tragedies if left unmodified. So currently the ordinance is 50 feet back from the stop sign, no parking. On the through streets, it's 25 feet back. Well, Cedar is a through street, but Cedar is the problem because as cars come up approaching on Second, approaching Cedar, coming from the east, as they look uphill with cars there, there's a tree there, you literally cannot see up that hill. And cars coming down the hill cannot literally see the cars that may be coming out into the intersection. So it was that very cause that created the issue, unfortunately, part of the cause. of the locality. So we thought best to modify the ordinance to push that particular intersection back to 50 feet from the intersection on Cedar. And further work will occur, including removing one or both sightline trees. And that's the explanation for the change.
Thank you, Councilman Graham. Just want a point of clarification, and Mr. Abramson will probably back me up on this, but that investigation is still ongoing as to the fatality at that intersection, so we can't actually speak to any causes. I've never actually heard of any particular causes at all. So, you know, it's under investigation, but bottom line is, Police Chief Wright did his thorough report last year about this intersection, and this is one of the recommendations that he and our engineer put forward, so.
And Mayor, if I can also just add, I'm happy to say the Department of Public Works did recently, in my report later, did recently install the blinking stop sign. So another added measure.
And I just wanted to thank you, Councilman Graham, because I know I mentioned it on the 324 meeting that we should try and open that up, extend the boxes, and really make it happen fast. So I appreciate it. And I'm glad to see the trees coming down that I mentioned that day as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Could I have a motion to adopt this ordinance?
So moved.
Second. Okay, roll call please, Ms. Cameron.
Councilman Graham,
Aye.
Councilman Carney,
Aye.
Councilman Lazzaro,
Aye.
Councilwoman McCrae.
Aye.
Councilwoman Spannon,
Aye.
Council President Williams.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Now it's time for council standing committee reports and other reports. We will begin with finance and personnel. Councilman Lazzaro.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to remind the council and public, as mentioned by our mayor, that we will be having a special meeting to discuss capital projects on Monday, May 16th at 7 p.m. That's all from my report.
Thank you, Councilman Lazzaro. Fire and OEM, Councilman Carney.
Thank you, Mayor. As you mentioned in your own report, last night, we had the honor to attend the Garwood Fire Department's annual memorial service. And, I had the distinct honor of being able to speak as the fire commissioner this year. So this memorial service is for members of both the Liberty Hose Company #1 and the Garwood Fire Department Ladies Auxiliary who have passed away. The service was well presented and moving, especially the roll call, where the names of every member of both the company and the auxiliary who have passed, dating back to the inception of the department in 1903, were read aloud, with the silence only being broken by the names themselves and the tolling of a bell for each member. I was also struck by the number of departed members who had the same last names, clearly showing a proud tradition of public service that's known to run through generations of first responders is quite strong in this town. As I said last night, the dedication of these men and women to Garwood now and over the years simply can't be overstated. And again, for those listening, thank you all for your service. One other note, I don't have the activity report for April, I'll have that for the next meeting, but regarding activity, even during the ceremony last night, our firefighters, along with Division 3, were deployed starting yesterday afternoon to provide coverage in the city of Elizabeth, where Elizabeth Fire and just about every department in Union County were battling a massive 5-alarm blaze at a police transfer station. As of my last conversation with the chief, our firefighters have been deployed to that scene, but they were providing coverage for other calls for service while Elizabeth Fire was fully committed. They returned to the borough around 1 in the morning after initial deployment at 3 in the afternoon. So thanks for that. And, that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Carney. Facilities, grounds, and shade trees, Councilwoman Lafreda.
Good evening, members of council, mayor, members of the public. Just want to update this week. There were multiple false fire alarms that were activated within Borough Hall as recently. The fire panel in Borough Hall dates back to the original construction of the building. The service company came out and did not find any issues with the panel, but we are still going forward and getting quotes for possible replacement. That's all.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Streets, ecology, and sustainability, Council President Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. So spring is in full swing in our Department of Public Works. The department installed new topsoil, seed, and mulch in various areas of the sports complex and community plaza, as well as new certified playground mulch at the sports complex and Heartland Park. They installed new do not enter signs at the intersection of Maple Street and Second Avenue, the new LED stop signs at the intersection of Cedar Street and Second Avenue that we mentioned earlier, and they put up the Garwood box banners throughout the business district. The in-house mechanic operations included rebuilding the entire bed of the older Mason dump truck, which consisted of cutting out the old steel bed and cross members and welding in new material, as well as installing new tires on the UTV and the Toro mower. Street sweeping operations have begun with no parking signs being put up and taken down accordingly. Monthly overnight sweeping of the downtown area and underpass will continue this season as well. Please check out the schedule of services for your street scheduled days and sign up for Nixle to receive reminder alerts. That's all for me.
Thank you, Council President Blumenstock. Police and Public Safety, Councilman Graham.
Thank you, Mayor. Can I go?
Yes, I was gonna let you go about 10 seconds and then do the same thing. You beat me to it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Since the last meeting of mayor and council on April 28th, I should say since the last report, the Garwood Police Department has reported the following activities. Initiated 49 motor vehicle stops, conducted 114 building/property checks, initiated 26 community policing posts, assigned to 25 fixed traffic posts consisting of radar, stop sign, and distracted driving checks, responded to 13 calls for medical assist, conducted 8 well-being checks, responded to 4 business/residential alarms, responded to 3 minor structure fires, responded to 19 false 9/11 fire or carbon monoxide alarms, responded to 3 motor vehicle accidents. There are still spots available for the upcoming youth academy scheduled for August 15th to the 19th. Applications can be found at the police desk or online at garwoodpd.org. Children entering grades 5 through 9 are eligible to attend. That's it, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Graham, and I want to thank the police department for what they do with the Youth Academy. I know it's very popular amongst our children in that age group, and I want to thank all the officers that contribute a lot of their time to making that a great success. So I'm looking forward to that again this year. Community engagement, recreation, historical, and celebrations, Councilwoman Zhang.
Thank you, Mayor. Garwood Recreation Summer Camp registration forms are available online as well as here at Borough Hall. Registration is due by June 1st, so please be sure to complete the forms and drop it off back here at Borough Hall. I'm excited to announce Garwood Recreation will be beginning a brand new program in the next few weeks, kickball. Kickball registration will be available online with the papers turned into Borough Hall by the end of the week. This is a free event for ages K through 8, and it will be held at Garwood Recreation Complex. Garwood Celebrations Committee has announced their annual Memorial Day service Monday, May 30th, beginning at 12 p.m. at the Knights of Columbus. Guest speaker Jessica Pack is a lifelong Garwood resident who served in the United States Marine Corps. Please be sure to stop by the Columbian Club to honor all of our soldiers on this special day. Celebrations is also working on a new ice cream social event, so please be sure to like and follow Garwood Celebrations on Facebook to stay up to date on new events. Garwood Historical Committee is busy getting ready for Garwood Rocks. Please be sure to look out for updates. Also, the latest edition of the Garwood Times, the Historical Committee published a very interesting article about how the borough evolved from the tracks and train stations. So please be sure to check it out. That's all for my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman Salmon. Communications Committee, to Councilman Carr.
2 quick items tonight, Mayor. The policy review I mentioned in my last report is ongoing. The committee has some questions which will refer to the borough attorney that are still pending. Also, I received a number of complaints regarding the audio quality over Zoom and or our live stream for the last meeting. I watched the video replay on YouTube and I did hear several people with very distorted voices at times during the meeting. Mr. Harris and I took a look at all the audio system settings today. Everything appears to be set okay on our end. We had a discussion prior to the meeting about the placement of the microphones and the distance of the speaker to the mic. And we'll work with Mr. Harris and the moderators to keep an eye or literally an ear on this for the next few weeks.
Thank you, Councilman Carney. Library Mayor's Representative, Councilman Lazaro.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few events to highlight that are happening at the library from May 9th through May 31st is the Bookmark Contest. The library wants you to design a summer reading bookmark, combining this year's theme of oceans and reading. One student from each grade will have their bookmark printed and distributed by the library for everyone to enjoy. Check out the website and watch the Friday folder for contest rules. This contest is open to Garwood residents only. On May 13th and 27th at noon is the Classic Movie Friday events. This is the first in a series of Classic Movie Fridays featuring memorable movies from the 50s and 60s, and light refreshments will be served. Registration is required. On May 17th at 3 p.m., there's a virtual adult craft. Pick up your craft supplies from the library and then watch the Facebook tutorial at 3 p.m. Registration is required for craft kits and it's limited to 10 participants. You can sign up on the library website, events calendar, or by phone. And finally, on May 16th at 1 p.m., there is the book discussion group. Join the library for a lively discussion of this month's book, Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Maria. That's all for my report.
Thank you, Councilman Lazaro. School Board Liaison, Councilman Carney.
Thank you, Mayor. The Garwood Board of Education met on April 26th, where the budget was presented and adopted for the 2022-2023 school year. The board voted 8-1 to adopt the budget as presented, which included a tax increase of $175.56 per household against the average assessed home value of $403,814. The budget presentation this year did not provide a per pupil cost, but it did highlight a number of non-discretionary budget increases that this council also struggled with during our own budgeting process, including salaries, health insurance, transportation, contractual costs, and social security. The presentation also referenced the district's use of shared services as a source of savings. The final thing I was able to pick up from their presentation, since we were all here and I wasn't able to attend, is the total budget for the district comes in at $10.5 million. That's all from our report.
Thank you, Councilman Carney. Garwood Senior Citizen Liaison, Council President Blumenstock.
Thank you, Mayor. At our last club meeting on May 5th, we were joined by representatives from the Union County Division on Aging. They were able to provide our seniors with many resources, from doctors who can do at-home visits to at-home eye exams and free hearing aid programs. There was also information on meal delivery or take-home meal options at a number of nutrition sites. I have a packet of the information and we'll be providing our senior director with it so that anyone who wants information on these services can have easy access, even if they aren't able to go online, which is something that our club discussed, getting access to help and certain phone numbers and resources if they aren't able to use the internet. So please feel free to give me a call or call our senior director at Borough Hall if you have any need or require any assistance getting any information. We are always there to help. So on another note, we will be gathering for cards and games at 1 p.m. tomorrow at the Knights of Columbus. And we have another classic movie showing on Friday at the library at 12 p.m. That is all.
Thank you, Council President Blumenstock. Small Business Advisory Liaison, Councilman Carney.
The next meeting of the Small Business Advisory Board is scheduled for Monday, June 6th. We'll discuss initiatives for the summer and fall. I'm also happy to welcome another new business here in Garwood, where I like to say that not only are we small town, big heart, but we're also small town, open for business. And I may have borrowed that term for
Right, yes, it sounded good.
I'm looking forward to attending the ribbon cutting for Moxie Salon and Beauty Bar, operated by Kelly Dunn and located at 504 North Avenue. That will be on Wednesday, May 18th. So I hope we get a good turnout to support a new local business.
Thank you, Councilman Carney. Union County Transportation Advisory Board, Councilman Brown. Here it is.
As I started to say, there were two short presentations at the meeting, one by Stephen Dunn, who reported on the 9/11 Memorial Trail, part of the East Coast Freeway that links New York City, Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and the Pentagon. Stephen goes by the Viking fireman, and has been a proponent of the extensive trail for bikers and hikers. It is clearly marked and has a juncture in nearby Union City. Also, a presentation was given by Jennifer Costa of the Elizabeth Chamber of Commerce, reporting on the Elizabeth Fast Ferry that will connect Elizabeth with Pier 15 in Lower Manhattan. It's about a block from South Street Seaport and Wall Street, so quite convenient for commuters. The service will begin on August 15th and eventually feature zero-emission electric ferries. The base fare is going to be $28. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilman Graham. Now it is time for our officers' reports. Ms. Cameron, could you please read those for us?
Yes, ma'am. Zoning enforcement officer report for April 2022. Property maintenance officer report for April 2022.
Thank you, Ms. Cameron. Could I have a motion to accept the officers' reports?
So moved. Second.
Who you're gonna pick, Ms. Cameron? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we will move along to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the mayor and council? Please step up to the microphone and state your full name and address. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. Mr. Patterson?
I'll go last.
Anyone online, Jeff?
There's no one else here. Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the council, Bruce Patterson, 335 Willow Avenue. Couple items. Yeah, well, one is I'd like to thank Councilperson Blumenstock for mentioning about an EV station. This is coming of age. They're saying about 25% of automobiles will be electric by 2030. So I mean, you know, we do have to address this issue about where they all going to be charged, because you just can't do that. The county actually has a program for a study right now. I think they just allocated $190,000 to determine where the best place to be charging stations. You know, there is going to be, I guess, 2 at the Vermella, right? You're on right.
Yes.
Two? Yeah, I wrote 11 years ago saying that they better have EV stations. So they're putting 2 there. I guess there's 1 or 2 over at Vermella too now. Recently they talked about that. And the odd thing is, they actually are not installing anything in that parking lot, that's the shared parking lot on the other side of the fire department, the shared parking lot, which was interesting to me only because we gave them an extra 9 apartments, I guess. I remember I showed up at one meeting and they were going to do 9 extra apartments for Vanilla, and we got nothing for it, which you know really makes me wonder about the functionality of the planning board. But I've been on their case for years now, so, but they could have pushed for something like EV stations, give away 9 apartments. The capital, I guess in the budget was $70,000 as a down payment. I guess that's leading up to Monday. You guys will be addressing whatever needs borrowing, and we have $70,000 in the budget, I guess. Is that true?
I'll address it.
Did you adjust that?
Sure.
Okay, the stumps and the trees. I mean, obviously we want to put more and more money in the budget, which is amazing because we were under such duress. Residents were complaining about it. I was one of them, obviously, and yet here we are just putting more and more money, just dumping more and more money. The tree issue. One thing is, we have 6 dead trees. Maybe okay, well, take them down. We have $15,000. So take the 6 trees down. The stumps, don't grind them. Fanwood, I have a resident of Fanwood also, and Clint takes 1-2 years to grind the stumps. I don't know why. I was that call him up and say, hey, how about grinding the stumps from the house? But that's Clint. Maybe talk to Clint about that. But so you push off the stuff. I mean, yes, there's a liability, but Fanwood obviously is by not doing something. If anything, instead of spending $2,000 for stump grinder, I would assume that the county has a stump grinder you can borrow. I know there's a labor issue with that, but the county's got to have a stump grinder. I mean, $500 million budget, they got a whole lot of stuff. So that's my suggestion on that. I don't know why I have to put another 10 grand in the budget, get the taxpayers up on that. At the Board of Ed meeting, yeah, here we are, at the budget, we kept talking about the $150,000 to the Board of Ed, and that it's gonna be tax relief. Well, at the Board of Ed meeting, Mr. Carney didn't talk about it, but at the Board of Ed meeting, it actually says that $150,000 is not tax relief. But I mean, keep that in mind, I mean, it is not tax relief, and I've seen it written in places, but it's not. It just goes right back to the capital fund, took $150 out. And lastly, and I mentioned on occasion, I get dismayed at the council, and I do speak about it on occasion. And here's another time now I'm dismayed also because I've encountered some evasive maneuvers. I mean, the governing body represents the people. The government represents the people. And the people are concerned about the sex ed issue. Yes, the Board of Ed is going to be addressing it, but here we are. The governing body also should be standing up and saying something and not being evasive. All I heard about the sex ed issue is, and this was from 2 people on the governing body, our job is to pave streets. Well, yeah, that's nice, but your job's a lot bigger than that. Your job is actually to represent people, to stand up for our issues that we're having. And this is a very hot potato issue, definitely it is. And just going back to it, why I'm also dismayed, another example, was when the county was giving out 9, 11%, 18% raises. And I said, how about doing something about it? And a council person said, oh, well, we get grants. I mean, how about showing a backbone? How about speaking up and saying things? I appreciate now that we have 2 political parties on the day, and that therefore maybe we're going to get some interaction and one political party possibly will be pushing the other political party to say things. I mean, I'm here, hold your feet to the fire. Well, now there's a second political party. So, and that's my comment on that. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the mayor and council? Seeing none, could I have a motion to close the public comment portion?
Move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so number of items to address there about the electric vehicle stations, for instance, the paperboard site, we have numerous stations. I know I reported on it maybe a month or 2 ago, but because of the new state law on that, there's a considerable number. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but it is not, it's up 10 or more, 14 maybe. I know, I don't want to put our planning board vice chair on the spot, right? At least 10. I have 14 in my head,
but you could be right.
right. I mean, again, I could go back and report, anybody could go back to the minutes, but, we have a considerable number going in there. I definitely want to check out what Union County is doing on their study, because that could potentially be of help to us for sure. The, Russo 2 coming before the planning board about the apartments, it had to do with the makeup of the units and what type of bedroom count they had. In the end, if I recall correctly, it was an increase of 1 bedroom, even though the increase of units was 9. And in terms of, what part of the argument was there had to do with our master plan and the aesthetics to the street. So I know, Mr. Patterson, you were at that meeting, but that was the outcome. So even though the unit count might be higher, the bedroom count had a very minimal increase. So you also mentioned the capital down payment. That was reduced at the last meeting. It's now at $50,000, and that can be used for down payments, as you mentioned, and also anything not used for that would go into our capital improvement fund, where we could use it for down payments for larger projects or future projects. We could use it for paying for capital items via that account, aka cash, essentially, instead of incurring debt for capital items. And we've done that sometimes in the past, especially on smaller items. So that's the number there. I hear what you're saying completely about not wanting to increase the budget. I know we had a lengthy discussion at the beginning. I don't think any of us want to increase the budget $10,000. We don't want to increase $3,000, but we do have a responsibility, there's a local finance notice out there on this, that we as a governing body can't knowingly underfund the budget either. So we need to address the issue at hand. And I think, you know, even though we didn't necessarily enjoy what we had to do earlier, we all came to that agreement that we have to take care of this and we have to pay for it. And to just have our DPW workers do it brought up a number of concerns, whether it's the use of the equipment, the time. Mr. Harris mentioned hundreds of hours it could take, summertime being a time of vacations and so forth. You know, it may seem like a simple decision, but we deal with decisions like this and they're really not so simple, not so easy, but we have a responsibility as a governing body not to underfund the budget. If we know about something, we must fund it properly, and I'll stand by that.
Mayor, on that topic, if I could
Yes.
just clarify for Dan what they do.
Okay.
Their shade tree commission, contracts out for their stump grinding, the public works department doesn't do it. So
Okay.
under the shade tree commission, so.
I'm sure
They
you've had
have a
talks with
contract
Mr.
there,
Dixon about
yes.
that. Okay, thank you for clarifying that on that topic. As far as the Board of Education meeting and the $150,000 we sent to them for the request for the replacement of the gym floor, which was in need, and they did it, and they did authorize the spending of that money already. I had a conversation with their business administrator, Ms. Krasny, and she explained her answer that she gave at that meeting. And from having that one-on-one conversation with her, I walked away with, it is tax relief, because once it goes into the capital fund, that will then be money for them to spend on capital projects, which of course we know the school has, and that therefore is money that they can use for those capital projects rather than it, increasing the taxes at that point. So in her view, she felt it was tax relief. Councilman Carter, you were at that meeting, you are our liaison. Were you at that meeting?
I was here with all of us. Several people who were in the audience relayed that particular exchange was a member of the board and what Ms. Rad's answer was. And I would assume that it's on video as long as Garwood Live was broadcasting that meeting and not ours.
Okay.
So, and I also thought that's why we do it.
So bottom line, my conversation with their business administrator was, in her professional opinion, it is tax relief. So, the other issue that you brought up, Mr. Patterson, I do appreciate where you're coming from, and I do believe our governing body, as a general statement, we want to be the voice of the people, but we also need to make sure that we are respecting our counterpart with the Board of Education, and that they should be tackling any issue like this first and giving us feedback of where they stand and what they would like us to do. I don't want us to improperly get out of our lane and speak on something that A, we have less knowledge and experience on, and B, do something that would be contradictory to them. I've had multiple conversations about that very topic of the sex ed curriculum with our Board of Ed president, our school business administrator, Dr. Quigley as well. I had mentioned some of the items that we put back here at the last council meeting to shed light on that. And, I think that when it comes to issues of that nature, anything related to the school, we should definitely be running that past them first and, going hand in hand. And I know you said that you feel that many people are outraged about it, but honestly, I have seen it on social media too, and I've read it in the news. It seems to be a national topic that's coming up for discussion, but I haven't had anyone reach out to me personally as the mayor and say, Mayor Tedisco, this is an issue I care about. What are you doing about it? I have had people reach out to me about other issues that also others may say, we might be better off, quote, staying in our lane. That's to be determined, but I really haven't had anybody reach out about that. But obviously, the Board of Education knows that that is a topic coming to them, and I'm sure you'll be at the next Board of Education meeting to see that. As far as Union County, I'm proud that I've had a backbone. I sent a letter that was rather unpopular, and Mr. Patterson, I know you know this, about the county surplus at the start of the pandemic, and I urged them to use additional surplus. They did use additional, not maybe as much as I suggested, and it is what it is, but I've tried to have a backbone there. So, it's complicated in a way, right? Like, we are both governing entities, one at the local, one at the county level. Generally speaking, we need to work together and make the best of it in every which way we can. So I'm open, definitely open-minded, but that's where my record stands on that. So with that, I will move along to the consent agenda. Actually, before I do, Mr. Harris, I do need to talk to you about something before the meeting closes. I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna actually call a 5-minute recess. This is uncommon for me, 2 recesses in one night, but I do need to talk to you about something before the meeting closes. So, do I need a motion? Yes.
So moved.
Well, you already have some.
Okay, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you, everyone. All right, could I have a motion to resume the regular meeting?
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now we have the consent agenda for consideration. Are there any resolutions a member of the council would like to have separated out? Okay, could I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda? So moved.
Second.
Roll call please, Ms. Cameron.
Councilman Graham,
Aye.
Councilman Carney,
Aye.
Councilman Lazaro,
Aye.
Councilwoman Fredo,
Aye.
Councilwoman Salmon,
Aye.
Council President Lewis.
Aye.
And Ms. Cameron, we don't have any resolutions outside of the consent agenda to consider? Okay, thank you. Under new business, I have a few appointments that I'm proud to make. The first one, and he's here tonight, is Jay Trope.
Check.
Correct? Okay. To the Recreation Committee from this date until the end of the year. And then I have two appointments to the Small Business Advisory Committee. Those are Sherry Littman and DJ Gog, and that is from this date through the end of the year. Next, we have the.
Mayor, if I could just interrupt, just got an email confirmation from Russo that the agreement has been signed. And they will have the actual signed agreement over to us, very sure of.
Okay, that's great news. Thank you, Mr. Harris. Okay, so payment of claims. Ms. Cameron, could you please read that resolution for us?
Yes, Mayor. Be it resolved that the following claims as approved be in the same or hereby ordered payment properly signed and verified, and the payment of payroll is listed is hereby confirmed and ratified.
Could I have a motion to adopt the payment of claims resolution?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, roll call.
Councilman Graham,
Aye.
Councilman Carney,
Aye.
Councilman Lazaro,
Aye.
Councilwoman Fredo,
Aye.
Councilwoman Salmon,
Aye.
Council President Lewis.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. The regular meeting of the mayor and council will be held on Thursday, May 26th, 2022 at 7 p.m. here in council chambers. There will be a public hearing on the 2022 municipal budget on Thursday, May 26th, 2022 at 7 p.m. or soon thereafter. Information for meetings is posted on the borough website, garwood.org. Could I have a motion to adjourn tonight?
So. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?